You ever find yourself bored in Fish or just not sure what to do? Maybe you're new to the game and you're like, TV, what am I supposed to do in this game? Does everyone just sit around and fish? Yes, I've had those DMs. People are really confused. They just say, is this the game? Do we just fish and then we get better rods and we fish and we get better rods after that and just keep doing that? No, Fish has a ton of stuff for you to do, and that's why it's popular. It's not because it's like such an amazing fishing game where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, look at this pike that I just caught. No one really cares about the pike. I'm sorry, dude. So today we're going to be covering over 15 things you could do in Fish while either bored or you're just brand new to the game. I did do this kind of in order, not an exact order, but we're going to be starting with the things that you should focus on first, and then we're going to get into things that are more like optional. So the first thing I recommend you do is complete Atlantis. If you have not completed Atlantis, I'm just going to give you some pointers here. So I'm going to head over there right now. Now, I'm not going to do a how-to video on every single one of these things, but I'm going to give you a little starter just to point you in the right direction, all right? So the first thing you need to do in order to be able to unlock Atlantis is you need to go over to Forsaken Shores. There's a bunch of secret buttons. You need to find all those buttons, and then you're going to get the TNT inside the skull head. You're going to take that TNT over towards Grand Reef, just behind Forsaken Shores, so it's a pretty short ride. And underwater in the Grand Reef is kind of like an Atlantis looking like thing down here. You'll see like a little temple or runes. You need to take the TNT down there, blow it up, go inside, get the Heart of Zeus, and at the middle of this area, you're going to teleport into Atlantis, which I'm going to show you right now. So once you're teleported in, you're going to be in this like weird looking temple thing. I'm going to just tell you real quick. There's 4 different areas you need to complete. There's different rooms. So there's a room there. There's a room. Actually, it's not really a room, but it's like a section or mini game here. So there's just a bunch of mini games you need to complete. Each mini game is going to reveal like different rewards. Like you get, access to different rods. And in each mini game, there's like this little wheel you need to turn and select the right dial. Then afterwards, you can go down to the Kraken, which is pretty much under this area, and you can get the Kraken rod. That is a great starter rod, by the way. So if you're brand new to the game, you can technically do all of this. If you want to see a video of my Noob to Pro series, of me grinding from noob all the way to Kraken in maybe 9 hours or so. I don't remember. Maybe it's 11 hours. Definitely check that out. I will link it in the description. So the next thing you should do is complete the Northern Expedition. If you have not completed that, you're missing out. This is a pretty fun area. Plus, you need to get that Heavens Rod. It is one of the best rods in the game. I would say like easily top 3. I would say the Kraken's probably the second best, and probably the best non-like level-based rod. The Kraken rod is only 1.3 million, just as a note in case you're new to the game, so make sure you're saving up a lot of money. Heavens Rod is about 2 million, a little bit less. You can get for like 1.75 if you gamble, like if you try to steal the crystal from the guy. But completing Northern Expedition, there's a couple things you need to do. First of all, there is the Heavens Rod, which requires you to gather a bunch of crystals around the area. There's also a crystallized rod, which requires you to have some glass diamonds. So you just need some of these. You can fish these out. You can get the glass diamonds from the Overgrowth Caves. It's one of the fishing areas in here. There's also a really fun one, which is the levers. So there's hidden levers all around the Northern Expedition. And by using a pickaxe to break the ice around the levers, and once you flip them all, there's a like little hidden cave. With that one, you could buy the Ice Warper's rod, which isn't really worth it, but it's still fun to like just complete all the different puzzles in here. The only 2 rods that really matter, though, are going to be your Arctic rod if you're brand new to the game. If you're not new to the game, the Arctic rod doesn't really matter. But this one is like the best starter rod in the game to save up for, the 25,000 for Arctic. You don't even have to go and travel up the mountain for that. And then the second best one here is going to be the Heavens Rod. Crystallized is probably worth doing if you really want the Rod of the Exalted one, which is definitely worth getting, which we're going to cover in a little bit. Now, if you haven't gotten the secret brick rod yet, which is this guy right here, this rod will guarantee you like studded mutations. If you're curious what a studded fish looks like, I have a studded love storm eel, and you can see this. It just kind of gives it that like classic Roblox look. So this rod isn't really good. It's just a really fun thing to have. So if you don't have this yet, definitely grind for that. If you don't know how to get it yet, I will link it in the description. Just a note before you even start, make sure it's close to summertime, or else you're not going to be able to complete this quest. Now, we did talk about the Rod of the Exalted one just a bit ago, and that is this rod right here. This rod basically gives you double chance to catch Exalted Relics. What are Exalted Relics? Well, they're just like an upgraded version of like Enchanted Relics. And if you don't know what that means, basically you can enchant your rods. See how I have Hasty here? I have a bunch of rods that have different enchants like Quantum, Steady, Insight. These are basically upgrades to your rods so you can make them more powerful than just leaving the default stats. But some of the best enchants are going to be Exalted Relic enchants. So These are exalted relics, and they're pretty rare. That's why everyone likes the Rod of the Exalted one, because this thing gives you 2 times chance to be able to fish those up, which is really, really nice. The other thing that's really nice about this rod is that it's actually pretty lucky too. You got 170% luck. You got mid lure speed. It's not great. You got decent resilience. You got good weight here, but it's not easy to get. To get this rod, you have to have specific enchants. I'm just going to show you a clip here. This is the room. There's an elevator you take, and then you got to go in this room, and you got to basically give each of these enchants to the altars, and it will consume it, revealing the Rod of the Exalted one. So if you want to learn how to get this rod, definitely check that video out. I'll link that one in the description as well. Now, if you don't have the Rod of the Depths, you definitely need this rod. It is a super iconic rod in the game, so if you don't have it, you kind of need it. It's kind of a rite of passage here. Rod of the Depths gives you this like little like ghost character that is a ghost of you, and when you catch stuff, it does stuff. It like reacts to whatever you caught. It'll like roast you, kind of makes fun of you, it celebrates with you. It just depends on what it is. This fish should feel bad for existing. I mean, you even roast the fish. I do have a skin on it right now, but this is what the, typical rod looks like. Rod of the Depths is kind of easy to get, but some people might think it's pretty hard. The main reason is you do need 750,000. You also need a hexed enchanted relic, which is this guy right here. And you also need an abyssal enchant relic, which is pretty much any of these here. Then you need to like travel through a maze and such. So it's not exactly the easiest if you're a beginner, but for most players that have been playing the game for a while, they're like, yeah, that's like one of the easiest rods to get. So you'll be at that point. If you're new to the game, you'll get to that point with everyone else. I wouldn't say that's the best rod to start with anyway, so like try to just save up 1.3 million and get that Kraken rod. The next one that's worth getting is going to be the Trident rod. This is a classic for all of us as well. It's another iconic early game rod, and this one only costs 150,000, plus you do need access to the Trident room, and for that one you need to complete the Desolate Deep Bestiary, and it's a bit of a pain because of sea mine. And I'll show you how to get this real easy down the road. This is a skin version of the Trident. The regular Trident just looks like this. And again, it's a really great rod for beginners because it gives you like Atlantean mutations. It also stabs a fish, which is kind of nice. You'll see right here, it just starts stabbing it, which basically stuns it, making it really easy for you to catch. That's why it's a good beginner rod. The next thing you can try getting is the Sunken Rod. The Sunken Rod does require treasure maps, and it's kind of nice to have. It's kind of like a rite of passage rod here. It is right here. Pretty cool looking rod, but the main thing about this rod is it gives you a 25% higher chance to pull up treasure maps, and all fish have a chance to be sunken, so it's also a mutation rod. I don't really use it for any of that, to be honest, because for some reason we all end up with like way too many treasure maps. But in order to be able to get this sunken rod, you kind of need treasure maps, which it kind of feels like backwards, right? Like, because you kind of need the rod in order to be able to get the rod, but if you already have the rod, then you don't need the rod. It's kind of backwards. Like, I feel like they should have put a different rod inside of the chest, and then this rod right here that brings up treasure maps to be able to help you find chests, it should have been obtained some other way, but it is what it is. So yeah, Sunken Rod's gonna help you get a lot more treasure maps, and as a result you can find more treasures. Kind of weird. The nice thing though is you can get like a lot of free totems and cool stuff inside treasure chests. That's why people care about this rod. The next fun thing you can do is enchant your rods. Now, if you don't have an enchantment on every single rod that you own, I wouldn't blame you for that. I mean, most people don't. I kind of do. I went all out, but I also didn't get real choosy on them. I just kind of left it. So like each one of my rods have enchantments on them. Some of them are intentional, some of them are not. Mostly did it so that I could have, rods I can test enchants with. Your favorite rod should have enchantments, and how you do that is you go over to the statue here, pull up to these guys. You need to do it at night, so you can always sundial, or you can just wait it out. It's like a, I think, 15-minute cycle for a night. And go over to this guy, pay him $400. Make sure you have enchant relics on you, or else you're not going to be able to do this. You can also buy enchantment relics. Merlin's a great fellow. I mean, he sells you overpriced enchant relics. These are, again, enchant relics. Any of these, doesn't matter if they have like mutations on them, although I would like save some of your good ones. I would just use like normals. And you go over here and select the rod. Make sure you have the rod equipped that you want. And then you go up here, interact with it, and it's going to enchant. Let's just do it on, let's find a bad one. We'll do it on Fungal Rod here. This also works for exalted relics, by the way. This is the same place you do it. And we're going to use one of these on my Fungal Rod. And we got gas lead. I mean, it's kind of a bad one. So I do have a video showing you the best enchants to use on different rods. Definitely check that out. But yeah, enchanting rods is kind of like a necessary thing for you to do in this game. The next thing you could do is appraise your fish. Appraising your fish is kind of a fun and boring thing to do. And the reason why you want to do that are a couple of reasons. First of all, you might be trying to make some like shinies. Say you have a banana and you want to make it shiny so that it looks like this guy. You can appraise it. The other reason why you want to use appraising is if you're trying to increase the value of certain fish. So for example, I got a Grand Reef Guardian. That's just a plain old Grand Reef. It's usually worth a lot. So you can go up here, ask them how much it's worth. It's worth 5,900. So if I appraise them to 3 times or 4 times it, that's going to be a lot of money for me. So we're going to appraise them until we can get something that's nice. And we got a big Grand Reef, which is going to be just about a 2 times. So I'll just show you. Now that we got them into a big state right here, it is now worth almost double. Not quite. It's almost worth 10,000 now. So let's just go and keep appraising them. All right, we got a negative. So let's see how much the negative's worth. And that one's worth only 7,100. So the big was worth more. So yeah, appraising is going to give you like different mutations and such. We just got a darkened Grand Reef. That's a great way to get like more money out of your fish. And you do that at Moosewood, which is a starter island. Next thing you should do is catch a Kraken if you don't have one yet. To catch a Kraken, you need to go over to Atlantis, which again, you could just go over here to the Grand Reef. So you do need the Kraken area unlocked. It is under Atlantis. The link to that video is in the description on how to unlock this room and complete Atlantis in general. If you don't have a Kraken yet, this one's really easy to get. You can sundial to catch him, but he's pretty easy. So let's try to get like a tentacle surge version of him with our Kraken rod. Now, if you're really pro, like you got a ton of money, you should try to get an ancient Kraken. It's like one of the rarest fish in the game currently. Yeah, they're really hard to get. They cost about 300 million, up to 300 million, or potentially more, depending on how like messed up your RNG is. Or if you completely miss it, like if you don't catch him and he goes away too fast. The only way to get an ancient is to use a Poseidon Wrath Totem. And then it's like 5% chance after that. Very expensive Kraken. There he is. I've got so many of these, so I don't really need more of them. But if you don't have one, you need to have one. They're pretty common these days, so like don't spend all your money trying to get one. Yeah, I got a couple. Next thing you could do is catch a Meg. So you can see we got a Megalodon spotted at Ancient Isle. Let's head over to Ancient. So if you're heading towards Ancient from like all these other areas, it's going to be to the left of the island. And you're going to see him swimming around. There he is. So we just go to the center here. And let's catch him with... Let's try catching him with the studded. So we'll do brick rod. I don't think I have a studded Meg yet. But it's going to be studded. That's what's cool. This rod gives you 100% studded mutations. So you'll never like just happen to get a non-studded fish. It'll always be the brick kind of look. Oh, it's an ancient. All right, we got an ancient studded. Nice. Ancient Meg. Dude, that looks really cool. The next thing you can do is if you don't have the water bubble yet, this is a really great item. It is a quest item. Kind of hard, but also easy at the same time. I'll explain it. But this allows you to swim underwater longer than advanced diving gear. You could also combine it with advanced diving gear. So if you notice, without advanced diving gear, it's kind of blurry. But if you equip it, it's clear. So you kind of want to combine both if you can. That way you have a longer oxygen underwater, plus you can see clear. So how you get the bubbles, you need to go over to the Grand Reef here, the purple text on the screen. So if you head over here, you'll notice this mermaid character. Right here, you talk to Bubble Mermaid. She's going to ask you to go and get 3 resin from Mushgrove. Next thing you can do is try to get the Auric Rod. Now, while I already have this rod, it is only obtainable through treasure chests, and it has to be a mythical chest to my knowledge. So these chests will spawn in different locations throughout the map. Usually I would say Roslitz, sometimes Mushgrove, sometimes Moosewood. It just depends. Forsaken Shores as well. But it gives you different items. It just despawned. But these spawn every hour. You can also get a rare boat, which I don't have yet. I've been trying to get this boat forever. I don't have it yet. So definitely go after those sunken chests every hour if you can. You can also server hop and try to find them. The Auric Rod's pretty cool because you will like every fish you catch will have some kind of mutation on it. And that's pretty powerful if you think about it from a money-making standpoint. It is not the best money maker as much as a lot of people say it is, but it will make you a ton of money if you get it early game. Next thing you do is try to get every single secret fish. There are a handful of secret fish currently in the game. The banana you can catch at the Ancient Isle pond. You also have the mustard and long pike, which are obtainable through the ocean. And then there's the resin on Mushgrove, which is required for that water bubble. The secret fish are just a lot of fun to have. They do require a lot of luck. It's just very difficult to get them, but when you have them, totally worth it. especially love the banana dude. Make sure to check out my secret fish video where I feature all of them. The next thing that you're probably going to spend the most time on is crafting all of your rods. So there are craftable rods. If you didn't know they existed, yep, there's so many craftable rods. And in fact, the most popular rod to craft is going to be the Rod of the Forgotten Fang, because this is currently the best rod in the game. The lure speed's insane. You got really good luck. You got good control, good resilience. And what's really great is the size, like the size buff of your fish is really nice, so you can make your fish bigger and you can get free fish. So this is an awesome rod. This is just a skin version of it, one of my favorite skins in the game. But this rod is also a level 750 rod, so you have to be level 750 to craft it. And how you craft is you need to have the Ancient Isles archive unlocked, or just the ancient archives. To do that, you need to have an eclipse, so you can force the eclipse, you know, through eclipse totems. But you need to go inside this area over here. So if we head over to the waterfall, you can see it right there. There's a section in there, so you have to kind of go into the waterfall. And in there, you need to have a bunch of players help you basically unlock your archive. If you've already completed the archive, it's still, you know, doable. You can still help people. But yeah, you kind of need to hop down there. Best way to get through there, honestly, is just to kind of go across the top. There's like a little ledge on this corner here. So go across the top of the waterfall, hop down, then just hop across. And then you need to go down the rope. And inside here, you're going to see these like statues. You can see I've already completed mine, so they're like the fragments are already inside of them. But you just step on these little platforms, you rotate them, and this thing's going to light up as long as it's rotated correctly. So it'll light up all of the totems, and then this thing will permanently unlock for you. And at the end here, this is where you craft your rods. You do need a glider, so if you don't have a glider, you're going to need it because these like little gaps. And you're going to find this anvil over here. You open that up, you're going to see all the different craftable rods you can do. I've already crafted every single craftable rod currently in the game, but it shows you the requirements for each. So, you know, Meg's fangs, Meg's spines, and all that. If you do have these items and they're not showing up, just make sure you unfavorite them so that they show up. If they're favorited, they'll be considered locked and that you don't have any. If you want to see a video on how to craft every single rod, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. Next thing you can do is pretty straightforward. You can complete all your bestiaries. So you can see I've got 93% completed. That's for moosewood. That's because they added this exotic. I haven't gotten it yet. I don't know why. I guess I don't really fish that much there. So you can go through these and complete all your bestiaries. I'm still working on Atlantis. You can see I'm 75% there. I haven't really been focusing so much on these lately, but it's kind of fun to complete your bestiaries. The other thing you could do if you are new to the game, you can like go around and complete your collection of items. So if you don't have every single, you know, gear item in the game, so for example, if you don't have a fish radar, you should buy all those now. You can also go around and get all your, you know, missing rods, but that's not as important. Like most of these are trash rods. Make sure you have a glider. Make sure you have some like oxygen tanks, at least the advanced one. Yeah, just make sure you have all the different gear you need, as well as a lantern for a light. Stay tuned for a video for that. I'm waiting for the volcano, and then we're going to be explaining where everything ends up, because you can see the volcano does erupt in 17 hours and it's going to be a live event. So make sure you're there during the live event, which again is in like 18 hours from now. So keep an eye on that timer. And finally, if you haven't done it yet, try to get max level. If you can't make max level, at least get to level 500, because you get this awesome no life rod. At 1000, you get the Seraphic rod. Obviously, this is like an amazing rod. Best rod in the game, in my opinion, besides the Rod of the Forgotten Fang. I would say still Rod of the Forgotten Fang might be one of the best, but this is like all around like crazy lure speed, crazy luck, good control. Like it's just awesome. But the no life rod has a special place in my heart. I, you know, max leveled with this thing, and it's got like some really cool skins, and it's just so good. So check out like how good this thing is when you know, cast it. It's super fast. Like it does a slices similar to Trident, helps you catch stuff. Great rod all around. And it's only half the max level cap. Anyway, I hope this video gave you some things to do in Fish. If it did, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm also looking for some Fish challenges to do some future videos. So if you have any challenges for me in Fish, let me know in the comments below. I might do them. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, happy grading. Peace.